turning stories of hurt into stories of hope. Join with us by calling 303-477-2473. Now, here's Angie Austin with the good news.
Here's the good news. Turning stories of hurt into stories of hope. Right as that announcer said that, producer Paul walked in the room and his shirt hurts my eyes. And I'm hoping, so I'm taking a story of hurt. Because doesn't it hurt your eyes, ladies?
Bright colors bring about bright ideas.
Yes. Is that true?
That's what I've been saying to myself.
Okay. I'm hoping that it won't hurt my eyes in a few minutes. Wow.
And it's not purple.
Where do you find a shirt
My wife finds these things.
It's fluorescent green. I've never seen one that color before.
It's there.
It's the color of the weather wall when I did TV weather, TV news.
If I was on a green screen, I would be nothing but a floating head.
Wow, I got to get your picture.
With the tie, yes.
I got to get your picture.
Yeah, no
Facebook.
filter necessary. It is this bright.
Whoa. You will have bright ideas then.
I know. I figured, and it's not purple.
I've been waiting for months. Oh, now come on. It's the good news. Wow. I got to stop being so mean. All right. I'm kind of excited about today because, I have some parenting issues, don't we all?
Yes.
I'm getting better. I don't raise my voice as much anymore. I'm a bit of a yeller. They say yelling is the new spanking. Is that true? The yelling is the new spanking?
Sure. I saw I should have pulled the article. I saw just somebody was talking about the effects of yelling on children, not even necessarily yelling at them, but having yelling in the house.
Them.
It was like on Yahoo today.
My husband and I don't yell at each other.
No.
We never yell at each other. It's more my kids. But I've gotten better because we've got Lisa Dunning here, and she is a therapist and president of Life Support. So she is professional. And also author Debbie Hardy is here. She's joined us before. She's a mom. Lisa's a mom. You're a dad. I'm a mom. And we also have joining us on the phone, Chris Spradlin. He has a website called Epic Parent TV, and I found it quite interesting because I think some of the things we'll discuss today, I think we'll have some disagreements. But as I was reading about Epic Parent TV, I was going through some of the ideas, and I thought it was pretty interesting. Some of the things I agree with and some I don't, but here's a little about him. He said, I'm not a fan of writing stuff about myself, but here are a few things that you should know. I don't drink coffee. He does like Jesus. He's bald. He has a chin hawk. What is that, like a mohawk on your chin?
I'm guessing it's like maybe just the middle portion.
Okay, like yours, but skinnier?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
I fight for purity, and I start every day with the chocolate, peanut butter, banana, spinach smoothie.
I guess it's better than coffee.
Sounds delicious.
It's okay until the spinach.
No, you can hide that flavor in there.
Yes.
I'll bet. And he tries to walk in a spirit of gratitude. Oh, I like him already. Chris Spradlin, are you there?
I am here. Thanks for having me on today.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I've been, discipline for me, my kids are 3, 5, and 7. So every day is a battle, I would say, and I don't mean that literally, but, just trying to get them to obey. And you've got some creative discipline techniques. Tell everybody a little bit about what you do because you're really into parenting.
Yeah, I am. You know what? I launched epicparent.tv a couple of years ago. I just did not find the resources out there that made sense to me. And I said, you know what? I'm passionate about this. I live it every single day. I fail a bunch. Let me see if I can create some content. And so epicparent.tv launched. And what I'm doing today is I travel, I speak in churches. I've got a couple books that I've written, and I'm in the middle of finishing one up right now. And so I just kind of do all things parenting.
All right. So as I was mentioning some of your... how many kids do you have, by the way?
I've got 3. I've got a 14-year-old. His name is Cole. We call him Coltrane. I've got 13-year-old Kylie Faith and Tifton Jack. We call him the Jackhammer. He's 11. So pretty close to...
the separation.
Yeah, exactly, for your kids.
Oh, it makes it, they all want the same toy. They all watch the same show. So there's also a lot of fighting involved. All right. So as I was going over some of your creative discipline ideas, we did get some disagreement at the radio station here. So I'm very curious to see the reaction. Do people sometimes say, whoa, that's a little too much, Mr. Spradlin?
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes they do. The thing about my approach on discipline is I'm really all over the board with really try my best to assess the situation, kind of look at maybe how God handles me, and sometimes I really go overboard in love, if that's possible, and then sometimes I, bring the heat pretty good as well.
Okay, well, we're going to ask you some questions, too, because producer Paul is here, and he also has 2 boys, kindergarten and preschool. And so he and I have very similar problems. And so I want to start with, on your 10 creative discipline ideas on your website, I'm having a problem with, hitting and biting. And I noticed that number 1, it says several years ago, this is you, but I sent my son to jail. He hit his sister, and I told him, boys that hit girls go to jail. I put him under the kitchen table. I put a barrier around it and didn't let him out for the rest of the night. He's never hit her since. I learned this from one of my friends, and
I love it. So again, it is Epic is correctly named for your website, because some of the things you do are epic. We were talking off air. It seems like some of the things you do, it's what every parent thinks about doing, and then you happen to do it.
So tell me about it, and what he did. Had you been having a problem with the violence? Kind of tell me a little more about the situation.
Yeah, I did. So Coltrane, at that time was probably, I don't know, 5, 6 maybe, and Kylie's just a year underneath him. And, man, he's all boy. He's jump off the couches, let's wrestle, let's WWE, let me get you in a headlock, punch in the face.
Like your daughter has to tap out in order to survive.
Yeah, you got it, girl. And so that's kind of what was going on, and man, he unleashed. I had been talking to him. You better stop. You better stop. He unleashed fury one time and popped her, and that's when it went down. I just said, "Hey, Cole, listen, man. I want you to know when guys do this in the real world, they go to jail for it. And my friend, you're going to jail." And so we put him underneath the table. I put the chairs on top, so there was a barrier all the way around it, and we fed him his dinner there. And it was awesome.
Now, did he get any visitation? Were any of his siblings allowed to come and visit him or bring him a Bible or anything?
Yeah, absolutely not. He was stone cold locked out.
Okay, he was in isolation. He was in the hole.
No, not really. And so here's the deal. When people look at that, they're like, oh, my gosh, how could you do that? Here's the reality of it. We have a real open living room, so we're sitting in there watching TV. While he's sitting in there, he's laying watching it as well. We gave him some books to read, and we talked to him. We would hang out, and it actually got to be really, really comical. But I kept him in there overnight. And so,
I didn't know that part. The ladies are like, are you ladies shocked?
Yeah, when you told us about it at first, I thought, well, just for the evening, that would make enough of an impression. That's fine, but overnight.
Come on. I mean, it's in the counselor, therapist, Lisa.
I'm having a hard time with this because I feel it's really humiliating, and I think it's more punishment and punitive rather than discipline.
But he never hit his sister again.
We don't know that. I think also the part of parenting that I try to teach my clients is that you want your child to come to you when there's issues. And I think this might more instill fear, and so they're not going to come to a parent.
What do you say, Chris?
Issues.
Yeah, there's no way that verbally you can explain the feeling of this. You had to be there to feel it, but it was healthy. It wasn't him getting angry. I can't believe you did this. It was almost kind of a comical sense to it as well. Matter of fact, I was just in the living room. I said, "Hey, Coltrane, I'm fixing to go into it." I said, "Do you remember that time when you hit Kylie?" He goes, "Yeah, and you threw me in jail for the night?" And he's laughing about it.
So he's not scarred.
Absolutely.
But then that's the other thing. When you're disciplining a child, you want them to know how serious it was. So if it becomes more of a comical thing.
Well, maybe comical now, but then, he was little. How old was he then, Chris?
Yeah, he was about 6.
But you said you shared that you were laughing at the time, too.
Yeah, there was a sense of there was a sense of comedy. There was a thread of it in there. And I understand kind of the naysayers in this, but I'm telling you, it was effective. His heart was protected. and he has not hit his sister again.
You know, Chris, I'm having this same problem right now at my house with, I've got the 7-year-old Riley, and then the 2 girls, Hope and Faith, are 5 and 3. And I pretty much told them that if there's any violence in the house anymore at all, that allowance is going to be taken away. And for them, I don't know what it is with my kids, but they are penny pinchers. They don't want to lose a dime. And so for them, that seems to be kind of scary. But it did happen last night. There was a bite involved. And I'm like, really? And he's like, well, she sat on my face, so I had to bite her in the booty. Really? Like they were wrestling? You know, I mean, and it's like, so I had to go see. And yes, there were some little bite marks on the top of her booty because I think, like, you know, when she fell on him.
Great.
So I wasn't sure, like, if it was self-defense or if it was, you know, that was a tough one since, you know, she had fallen on him. So, but I mean, I'm almost tempted to try it for like a short period. I don't have the guts to do it overnight. Well, my husband is the Marine in the family. Like, I think he would do it. But I think that for me, you know, he'd be crying and I'd be like, oh, Mommy will lay right next to the kitchen table. I'll just spread out a tablecloth and I'll be right here next to you. If you need anything, I'll feed you ice cream through the bars of the chair while you're in prison under the table. But, you know, I'm fed up with the hitting. And Lisa suggested, what did you suggest, Lisa?
For that, especially for your son, because he's so attached to the money, is you know, every time he hits, he has to give his sister, you know, a quarter or something. So he's physically getting a quarter from his own bank and giving it to his sister. But also, just wanted to say with the jail thing, you know, it's almost like if you pick it apart, it's a timeout, you know, and it's a redirection.
It's a timeout that's a little scary. It's a timeout with the, hey, this is what happens to older people,
right?
That they do go to jail.
The one thing too, and I don't know, you know, if you would agree with me, but you know, experts have showed that for a timeout, you want to give them a minute their age because otherwise it will be too long, and again, it becomes punitive. So you know, if he's 7, that's how long the timeout should be, is a 7-minute timeout.
So the 14 hours or whatever that Chris did, that's too long.
I think, like I said, I don't agree with it. That's great that it worked for your family. I would caution people using it too, because it sounds like he was in control and calm when he instilled that discipline technique.
Well, and also I think it's a loving home, that they're a loving family. And that when we think of like the stories we hear in the news, I mean, I did news for 22 years, you know, the stories we hear in the news are not the loving families, you know,
it's getting locked in the closet for days, that sort of thing. Completely different.
This is what happens to adults. They do go to jail when they hit women. I mean, I think that's a very important lesson to teach. And I said to Riley, I said, Mommy and Daddy don't yell at each other and hit each other. What would you think if Daddy hit Mommy? Would you like that? I mean, do you think that would be right? And so I do like that is what happens to adult men that hit women. They do go to jail. And again, I couldn't do it overnight. I mean, I could. I'm too much of a wimp. But
I mean, it's just a matter of what you're instilling in your child. Again, I mean, you want to teach them that whether they go to jail or not, because not all people, unfortunately, who do hit go to jail.
Do you know what you did, Chris? You were if you ever seen Scared Straight, you were scared straight for the kindergartner. That's what you're running there. You are running Scared Straight for the kindergartner. So you should now have other little kindergartners come over, talk to Cole, and be like, dude, my dad put me in jail underneath the dining room table. He kept me in overnight. I had to eat my food in there. I didn't even get any visitation. I was in the hole. Then the other kindergartners, they'll never do it again either.
You know, a good piece about what we did is, Angie, I earned the right to be able to lead him that way and to discipline him that way. And what I mean by that is I've spent the time loving on him. I mean, I had spent the time being a father, being present, being constant, giving grace.
He trusts you.
And yeah, absolutely. And if I never would have spent the time earning the right to do that, it would have been just like isolation, locking him up. But because I had done that, which all parents are called to do, I'd earn the right to be able to do that.
Well, we're going to take a break here, Chris, but stick with us because you've got a lot more. We kind of got hung up on the jail time underneath the kitchen table, but you've got nighttime chores, you've got old school soap trick, pay the piper, give grace, you have to cry. These are various, you know, headlines for some of your creative discipline techniques. So we'll see what Counselor Lisa has to say about these, and me and Paul. And Paul's got a couple of questions as well because he's got some unruly toddlers.
I don't know where they get it from.
We'll be right back with the good news with Angie Austin and friends on 810 AM KLVZ, where love lives.
Share your story of hope. Call 303-477-2473. The Good News with Angie Austin on 810 KLVZ, where love lives.